played my first gig when I was 7 years old. That was 1955. Okay, my mom and dad took me to a VFW because they wanted to have a couple of drinks. And my daddy was a veteran. Said, why don't we go, have a couple of drinks. I got up and I did the laughter wipeout. Okay, did the laughter wipeout. Somebody come up and handed me $5. I said, well, this is a business I want to be in. That was 55, and then as we went along, years and years, I wasn't trying to go. I didn't know anything about what we were going to do. But Bill Haley and the Comets came out, a group called the Sparkle Tones. They were from Spartanburg, South Carolina. They did a song called Black Slacks, and that made it on Ed Sullivan. And so we all watched it, and it was like black and white, stuff like that. And I realized then that I may very well want to be on this, in this kind of life. Girls were screaming, bats were flying, monkeys were shitting in the woods. So, really, this was an opportunity. So I continued on with that. We started a band called the Gilsman, Guilds or something. I don't even remember. But we started that, and we became a good band. One of them's a doctor today, and the other one is a teaching professor at college. But we did it for the right reason. We were doing it because we wanted a place just to go hang out together. We didn't want to stay home. Then all of a sudden we had an opportunity to cut a song, and we didn't have any songs to cut. This local guy, you're talking about 55, man. We didn't have cell phones. When I first started touring, that. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cable TV in the buses. We didn't have anything like this. We were more of the raw, I call it the very Common band, and a lot of people didn't know that, didn't know what Common was. But as far as getting the next band together, that was the Toy Factory, and that was right before I went to Vietnam, right before Toy went to Vietnam. So we came back, and Toy said, man, we need to get together. Let's try to get together at least once a night. We rented this little small warehouse. We had no idea. All we had was a key and no name, okay? We'd already been called the Toy Factory. That was simple. Toured, went down and did a Frankie Valli imitation band and opened for them down in Florida. Had a great time. But the most important situation was realizing that touring was easy. Touring is very, very easy if you don't let it get to you. Realize that. So Toy and I decided that we would continue and be strong as we could. And then we got back from Vietnam. I worked in a bank for about right at a year, and being in the collections department. And evidently my gift of gab brought great results for the banker. He offered me my own office in Atlanta, Georgia. I lived in Spartanburg then. Offered me my own office in Atlanta the same day that Phil Walden offered us a contract to make music. Well, now, this end of the story is almost here, except that was 48 years ago. And so I took the music, let the little Ferrari go that the guy promised me. Man, I'll get you a Ferrari, man, if you come work at the bank. And, now I'm just going to buy my own damn Ferrari. We wanted to be one. We didn't want to be individual guys. That's why we just picked a name. And the name came off of a key that led us into that warehouse that was in the basement of a hotel that was only about 10 feet wide. And every time somebody would flush the commode upstairs in that hotel, you could hear it running all the way down through it. But it stunk like hell, but we had a great time. This promoter came up, he said, I got a band. I want you to do this. And we did. We rehearsed about a year. And that seems like a very short time for a band, to perfect it the way we did. And they said, we got the Allman Brothers and Jimmy Hall and Wet Willie Band opening, for the Allman Brothers. It was a place called the Ruins. Well, you would think that might be a bad thing, but it didn't matter what the name of the club was called. Okay, so we went up there and opened it up, and we did like 3 songs, I think, and the crowd loved it, even though we're from that town. But the promoter said, look, do me a real favor. He said, I want you to go out there. I'm going to put your name on the paperwork and all that stuff in the marquee, because that's all we had back then, a little bit of radio here and there. And he said, I need a name for the band. And I said, well, this is easy. This is real easy. So we took this key. We didn't have any clue. We said, okay, come back in an hour. So we was throwing this key around. We were drinking like hell and throwing the key around. Key come up, somebody, it wasn't me, somebody, and I don't recall who, looked at it and said, let's call this band the Marshall Tucker Band, because that was the guy that had rented it previously, okay? He is a blind piano tutor. He's 94 years old. He lives in Columbia, South Carolina. He is still alive. I talk to him every so often. He's doing good. His wife, both of them are blind, him and his wife. So they've been together for like ever. And he had used that one for his trade, so he could take those big pianos. They would deliver them down here, and he would work on them. So you got that part of the story. So as far as the guys in the band, Jerry was in California. We wanted something besides a saxophone. You know, we wanted something different. Toy and I talking about it. We had a lot of, Toy had a lot of songs. I had no songs at that time. Mine come from road experiences, you know. Like I should have never started loving you and stuff like that. It made it in all those Wilderness Family movies because it'd make you cry if you looked at yourself, you know what I mean? Oh God, I'm dying. But you know, and I'm never gonna be found. What do I do? What do I do? So we called Jerry up. Jerry came back from California with his little hippie garb on. You know, he was the hipster. And all of us were just dealing with Woolworth, Levi's, and stuff like that. You know, it's all right. It worked. And so we just would wear what we brought. You know, wear what we come to the gig with. George was the same way. George was out of the Navy. And so none of us had any money at all. So we just said, well, we'll meet down there. George was making tea. That's what his job was. Okay, Toy's dad was a master plumber, and he would have contracts and stuff, so Toy would go work with him. My whole deal was being in the banking business, so I had a good, and Jerry was a roofer. And man, we didn't have no idea that any of this was going to happen this way. No idea. But Jerry came in, sitting there, and we said, well, this would be a good place to put a flute. And we put a flute in Can't You See, Take the Highway and stuff like that. And I will say that we did not know until we saw John Mayall and said, man, what a way to go. And we went up there and we went with that. A lot of people think that we go out there and play really hard. We don't. I can come off that stage feeling good about it all. And even to this day, because we never push it to try to get over on the people. We want to be part of the people. We want to be the reason that they come, not the reason that they walk away with their ears burning. But that doesn't mean volume, because I like to burn them down. You know, rambling on my mind, you know, stand back, you know what I mean? So, and then George was all ready to go. We all were ready to go. We were traveling in cars at that time, at the very beginning. And I had this hot rod little Cobra, and I pulled in the trailer with a Cobra. And man, that was hot, you know, big double trailer. We were traveling all over the Southeast, working on Friday, and nobody knew what we did. We would just leave and then come back and go back to our regular job. But the music was more important than anything. That's why we never got in an argument, because if I wasn't feeling well, or Toy wasn't feeling well, that's how I started singing This Old Cowboy. Because one time we were out there opening for Journey, I think it was, and Toy said, man, you're going to have to sing this song. I don't have this yet together tonight. So I want you to do this. And so I did, and I had to write the lyrics down as many times as I'd heard it over 5 years. Never did it that way. So we looked to each other to have strength. We never got in an argument with each other, never a fight. It was always to make it better. And always making it better was the most important thing. And this band that I have now, we call it a new band, but most of those guys have been there 15 to 18 years, you know, finally got the groove. But that's what we like to do is please each other. We get off stage, we compliment each other, or we say, that really sucked tonight, you know, it sounded like somebody sucked, you know. We wanted it, but that's what we really wanted. And Toy, being the main songwriter during that period of time, was a strength. Luckily, he had those songs. If he hadn't had those songs, we'd been in a world, you know, and it would have stacked up and backfired. But then all of a sudden, Phil said, "Y'all go in the studio. We don't care." Went out and opened for the Allman Brothers for 4 years, and that was incredible. And I say it, I love Greg. Greg is my favorite Southern rock singer to this day. There'll never be another one as good as him. I partied with him, I hung out with him, I learned from him. He showed me how to go out there and just sing and put your heart into it instead of your head. Isn't that weird? And I still love him. He's so strong.